Next day in China, and we are continuing touring the country. This day I'm going to devote for taking the Chinese slow train. We are going to spend 8 hours in a Chinese local train to get to another major city on my way. Train stations are huge almost everywhere in China, like everywhere I travel. Well, this one is special because it's actually the entire transport hub, so they have 2 train stations in one. This is one line which I'm going to take, and there is another high-speed railway. You can see the overpass visible over there. So it is a big city with actually a big railway station. So the very first thing which we have to do before boarding the train is to check in to the train station. So you can only enter it if you have a valid railway ticket. You would need to scan your passport, and only after that you'll be allowed to get in. So here we can see the railway schedule. I found my train. It leaves at 9:11, and there you go. 你好.
你好。这个不要乱拍。
啊？
不要乱拍。
Sorry, no filming.
不要发到网上去哈。
So we made it to the railway station. After scanning your passport, you just put your belongings into the X-ray, they scan it, and then you're good to go. Well, I don't speak Chinese, so I cannot read their characters, but I see the train number. My train is going to be K1257 for today, leaving at 9:11 o'clock. It says 7. 7 is probably the number of the track, railway track, and there is another number 2. It must be gate number 2. So this is basically the place where we are going to check in to our train. So the train station is, I would say, of an average size by Chinese standards. It's definitely not the largest one. One thing which you will miss while traveling in China is a proper bathroom, because frequently you can find only squats over here. Because, well, they find them more hygiene compared to standard water closets. I talked to a bunch of Chinese people and they said the same thing. That's why they're so common here. At this train station, for example, they have a couple of grocery stores, like little shops inside the train station where you can get some snacks. I can see a line of people, so people are already lined up for boarding for my train, because this is going to be the soonest departure from this train station. Okay. Just scan your passport. You don't really need to have a printed ticket or anything. They already have it in their database. Alright, there is our train, K1257, track number 7. No elevators this time. There's a lot of people in China, and their trains are also quite long, and that explains why a railway platform is giant as well. You see these railway workers, they're currently staying between railway tracks, and all of these pipes, they are for supply of water. So the passenger train is going to arrive soon, and they will have to quickly refill it with water, which is used in the bathroom, basically. Huh? Not allowed? I filmed at many railway stations in China and never had issues while filming, but here I have already been asked twice not to film. This is how the Chinese slow train looks. They also have high-speed trains which easily reach 300 kilometers per hour. They're going to take a seat carriage of this train, basically the cheapest possible wagon. Welcome to the seat carriage of the Chinese slow train. It is designed to carry 118 people. So they have 3 seats on this side, 2 seats over here. I think it's my 5th time taking the Chinese train, seat carriage specifically, and most of the time they're full of people because, well, this is the cheapest kind of the train ticket, and slow trains, they travel between smaller cities and towns, so a lot of people use it for just regular transportation. If you ever got curious how the bathroom in Chinese slow train looks, then here is the answer. It's pretty tiny actually. It's represented by the squat, but this bathroom is advanced because they also have an air aromatizer. This little thing basically punches this bad smell. They don't even have a proper sink at this point. You can only use this tap straight here to the floor, and if you want to flush the bathroom, the toilet I mean, You just need to click this button and it eventually works.
您在整理行李物品时，请仔细检查一下行李架上、衣帽钩上、座位底下。
在那边呢，还是在这边呢？是在那边，是在管理啊，还是在那个椅子那个方式？
So the feature of Chinese trains is that they're basically smoking friendly. At least these slow trains. Yeah, you can just smoke in this free space between wagons. That's what many people do. Travel, Zhongguo travel. Yeah, travel. Wolajce Elose. That's all I know. Okay, so we made it to the restaurant wagon of Chinese train. It's like a little canteen where we can potentially order some hot meal. They actually have menu listed here, so I will need to use translate to figure out what's written here. They don't have translation. Looks like the most expensive meal here cost roughly $8, but they also have some more simple meals for just 20 RMB, which is approximately $3, I think. Anyhow, I wanted to order this one.
要米饭吗？
WeChat.
微信。
Okay, Visin. You can just select the meal and pay for it with WeChat. So you don't need to bring cash. You have Hiju. Tsingtao. Okay. Apparently I just ordered some kind of fish balls. And also I got a bottle of beer. Tsingtao beer, one of the most famous in China, I think. In the city where this beer originates, which is called Qingdao, beautiful coastal city of China, they have the beer festival, which is, I guess, a local equivalent of Oktoberfest. We have just been served the meal, which is going to be Weizhou fish balls, accompanied by rice. The starting station of this train is Weizhou, and the dish is called something like Weizhou fishball soup. So apparently they serve Weizhou local food. The portion is huge. I guess it would be enough for 2 people. And the soup itself is, well, it's fat, it's oily, as it's supposed to be, I guess. So the bouillon is quite delicious. Like not too salty like standard soup taste. Funnily enough, apart from me, there are no people in this restaurant wagon. Food prices here, I mean, they are affordable for the train, but they're obviously higher than in the city. So the same dish, for which I paid like 40 RMB, would cost maybe 15 to 20 RMB on the streets. Let's try the fish. Oh, fantastic! The fish ball is very yummy and juicy, has distinct fish flavor, so it's very fresh thing. Thumbs up. Time to try beef. They have a few slices in the soup. Also tastes very nice, very fresh. And now let's try the noodles, right? Because it's still kind of the fish noodle soup. Feels a little bit weird compared to standard noodles, standard size noodles I mean, but totally eatable. So my personal ranking would be 8 out of 10, so I'm satisfied with this dish. Alright, I made it to the city where I'm going to change trains. I'll have 5 hours to transfer from one train to another. And the place which I reached by this first local train is actually a giant city which is called Wuhan, situated in Hubei province of China. The city actually became quite infamous a few years ago because this was the place where the pandemic of COVID-19 started. Not gonna lie, bathrooms in China are very informative because you can literally see for how long the bathroom is occupied. Someone is having a bad day, having spent almost an hour, well, 45 minutes in the bathroom. That's crazy. Well, subway is probably the most efficient way of getting around Chinese cities, and for a foreigner it's also the most understandable way of getting around, because all the navigation, all the public signs are translated to English language apparently in every subway system of China. They usually have the map of subway system, so yeah, it's very nice. Another advantage of urban transport in China is that it's very cheap. I covered 5 subway stations and paid only 2 RMB, which is basically 30 to 35 American cents. The area around the subway, just an ordinary street basically, which I'll have to pass on the way to my first landmark. There is a little street market where you can get some street food, some sausages, some French fries, tofu. It's tofu, yeah. Yeah, someone is selling some water, cigarettes, other kinds of snacks. You can get some fried nuts. Okay, this is the bread, handmade bread. Sounds like we made it to one of the walking streets of Wuhan. In the evening it's very crowded because everyone finished their shift and they just went hanging out. The street is very busy right now. You cannot see on a distance, but this crowd is just enormous. And it sounds like the further we'll go, the more people we'll face. Some jewelry store, by the way. And this is the way they are attracting customers. The animators, right? For better understanding how busy this street is, I'm using X5 optical zoom. And I cannot see the end of this crowd. So many people. There is another jewelry store, and in this case they even have dancers attracting customers. And apparently this form of marketing eventually works, because I can see that people gradually come inside and check out things which are for sale there. So yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and the entire like illumination, it's just incredible. Well, the place looks very busy and very alive. And funnily enough, I didn't even know that they have some European buildings like that to the left. Food is everywhere. I'm just panning the camera around the place, and this entire square is full of different kinds of restaurants. There is so much different food in China that you can live your entire life and never be able to try all the available dishes which exist. I was going to the shopping mall to have dinner, and accidentally I came across this. So there are Chinese uncles and aunties dancing in the evening in one of the parks. It's a very common kind of activity here. You see it everywhere in cities. People gather together in the park or in the square, some kind of like local community perhaps, and they just dance. There is the shopping mall where I'm going. I mean, I could just have some street food, but I want to eat something more familiar. Okay, this is basically what $5 can get you in Chinese shopping mall. The dish which I ordered is basically teriyaki chicken, which is accompanied by several things. They have a little bit of salad over here, carrot. I don't know what's this, not wasabi. A little bit of corn. Obviously it all goes with the rice, and most importantly the actual teriyaki chicken. And the second dish, from what I understand, it must be teriyaki beef. And also I ordered the iced tea, lemon iced tea, which is also very decent. The dish looks very beautiful and you can eat it this way. However, recently I just started mixing it all together to spread the delicious taste more equally, I would say. I also put a little bit of the sauce, which is just slightly spicy, but it makes the whole thing even more yummy. Somehow I got so obsessed with this teriyaki chicken, so anytime I have a chance I order it. Time to try the second dish, which is a teriyaki beef with rice, corn, and this green stuff. Fantastic. Both dishes are super yummy in my opinion. Well, the reason why I decided to make a stopover in Wuhan is not because of its walking street and active nightlife. The main reason why I'm here is because I really wanted to see the legendary place where some of the most disastrous disease broke out in 21st century. I'm speaking about COVID-19, which supposedly started here in the South China wholesale market in Wuhan. The place which became famous in the beginning of 2020 due to the spread of a strange disease which symptoms looked like pneumonia. but eventually it became even more hazardous to everyone, and millions of people eventually died as a result of being infected with that COVID-19. No one actually knows how many carriers of this disease nowadays in the world, and there are still new cases registered. Basically, it was the seafood market here in Wuhan, where different kinds of animals actually were sold, not only seafood, some unique wildlife, and it was all going on in unsanitary conditions, which potentially led to the development of all of that viruses and stuff. It's just one of the versions actually that the virus appeared here, and no one actually knows clearly whether the virus originated in the laboratory or it originated from some wild animal. Funnily enough, 5 years after the beginning of the pandemic, this place still remains inaccessible. So see, there is this giant blue fence which basically blocks access to there, and this market consisted of two parts which were separated by this road, and another part is also closed.